Today we're going to be talking about the Socrative app that can be used for creating quick reading checks or other little quizzes that you feel comfortable with having students complete on the computer. So I'm actually going to click on the teacher version right here, and it brings me right to my account. And so on the home page here, there are a couple different things that I can do. I typically use this for quizzing, but there are also opportunities to create games for students, have students submit exit tickets, or answer something like a quick question. I've used some of these resources before, like the exit ticket and the quick question, but my main use is for quizzes. So I'm going to show you a couple of the quizzes that I've created. So if I click on the quiz tab over here, and I drag down, I have quizzes for a lot of the reading that my students have to complete independently. And so when I click on the quiz, you can see my different questions. I typically end up doing short answer questions because I can get a little bit more of depth out of the students, but I could create easy multiple choice questions as well. So here I've already put in each of my questions. I have options to edit them, delete them. If I want to switch up the order, I can do so. If I want to make a hard copy, I can. But if I come all the way to the bottom, this is where I can add to my quizzes, and this is how you would create one. So if I wanted to create a multiple choice question, I could get fancy and add a little picture if I wanted to. Then I would put my question in this box here, and I could do all of my different answer choices as I go through, and I can pick as many as I would like. If I wanted to have even more answer choices, I can. One of the nice things is that you can then click on which one is correct. If you want to have multiple correct answers, you can do that as well. The explanation feature is nice. If I wanted to, I could explain why answers B and D are the correct answers, so the students can get that feedback right away. So this is kind of a nice little feature where students can kind of see where they might have went wrong while answering this. So that's just one type of question that I can do. I can do a standard true-false question, which is the same concept. I would just type my question here, and then I would choose either true or false as my answer option. And then short answer is what I use the most. The nice thing is that I can actually take student responses and open them as PDF files when they're done. And so this is a nice way for me to kind of keep track of everything. So I'm going to delete that and kind of go back to show you what it looks like when you're actually going to give one of the quizzes. So if I wanted to give one of the quizzes, I would click on the launch button, and it would give me the option of all of my quizzes that I've already created and which one I wanted to use. So let's say I want to give the All Summer in a Day reading check. I click on next, and I have a couple of different options. Instant feedback. It requires the student name, and it shows the question feedback. This is if I were to type the reason why the right answer is the right answer. The one problem here is that you can't shuffle the questions or shuffle the answer choices, so students kind of get that feedback right away. I find this actually to be non-beneficial because students can't go back to questions and they can only take it in order. The open navigation has a lot more ability for playing around. I can shuffle the questions, I can shuffle answer choices if I have multiple choice, but the students can kind of go back to questions and skip ahead to questions. They seem to like this option better. And then there's a teacher paste option, and if you click on the info button, it kind of gives you an explanation of what you need to do here. So a teacher paste allows you as the teacher to take the kids through and give them certain timing. I'm sure there's definitely benefits to this teacher paste section, but I kind of prefer the more open method. So when I click start, it opens up this screen. And the students would open up their own version. They would put in my classroom title, which is Read English, and I would be able to see as each student logged in. I would also get to watch their progress here. So this is really great. I can see how many students are in the room at a given time. I can kick kids out of the room. I can see their names. I can see their answers. And so this is a great way of seeing who still needs a little bit more time. It's a good way to kind of encourage kids to wrap up if only a few more kids have sections to complete, so it's a great option here. The other thing that I want to show you is the reports section. So every time I give a reading check quiz, I can actually have a couple of different options. I can view a chart which shows me what students wrote as their answer choices. I'm going to leave their names in stars here for privacy, but I have that option of clicking on their names. I can see who didn't finish certain questions. So it's just a nice way to double check some of those different elements. Another thing that I can do is I can go to the Get Reports. I can do a whole class Excel file, but I pretty much don't do that. I usually just do the individual students' PDFs. If I download the student PDFs, then I have the option of being able to print them and give them back to the students. Or what I like to do is I like to put them into their OneNote. So if I click on a student, I could open up their quizzes and be able to give them that quiz back in a different way. It's saying the file type is too long, so I might actually need to extract and just shorten the title a little bit so I can more easily get to these student reports. So here we go. It opens up my students' quiz with the answers. I can kind of easily double check this. I like to specifically put this into OneNote. So what I would do to do that is I would click on print and I would actually send it to OneNote. I'm not going to print it regularly. So once this pops up and I click the print button, my OneNote is going to open. I can explain where I want to print this to. So maybe I want to print this to that section there. And here is my student's quiz, and I can give feedback, 12 out of 12. I can mark something wrong and say, actually, Aunt Alexandra did this. So it's a really great option, especially for someone who uses OneNote, and it's a pretty quick process. So I'm just going to delete this here and take you guys back to the app. So that's just a quick overview. You have all of your reports listed here, so I can access the quizzes at any time. Notice I have 112 different quizzes that I've given over the course of the past couple of years. So as a whole, Socrative is a really great resource. I highly suggest it for quick and easy quizzes. And especially if you use OneNote, it's easy to print their quizzes right into OneNote so they have the physical copy and it's not just the digital copy. In order to protect your quizzes, the students actually don't get them back in a more traditional way. When they sign in, they just sign into the room to take the quiz. So if you want to give them that kind of hard copy feedback, that's why OneNote is great. So I hope you found this useful and that you'll use Socrative in your process. I know it's been very beneficial for me. Thanks.